Welcome back, Rosebuds. If you've heard my personal stories from any of the previous episodes, you know that I lived out in the desert for over a decade of my life, and let me tell you, things can get really creepy really fast. Today, I've collected 3 stories and written 1 fictional story for a total of 4. Make sure to listen all the way to the end where I'll reveal the imposter story, which is the fake. With that, let's dive into our 4 near misses in the desert to tell in the dark. Story number 1, Black Canyon Anomaly. So I'm walking down the highway in a small area called Black Canyon in Arizona. It's the most direct route to the place where I go to get my weed. It's the middle of the night in the summer. I walk this route because it's still hot as anything at night, and not too many cars. After a while, I glimpse what seemed like another person on the other side of the interstate. If anyone else has ever walked on the highway in Arizona, it's frickin' bumpy and not pedestrian-friendly at all. I realize I should have brought a better light because I tripped and busted my ankle and split my lip. Now my ankle won't support my weight. I'm pretty much army crawling on the side of the road. A lonely trucker happens to pull up about 30 feet in front of me, presumably to pick up my sorry ass or at least help. I'm hoping this isn't a serial killer kind of trucker and more like a Good Samaritan kind of guy. I'd pretty much forgotten the person I mentioned earlier, but I see it then, and it crosses over to my side of the interstate. Except it looks like a massive black form without features. I'm in pain, so I only glimpse it and pass it off. It's dark, I didn't get a good look. I'm trying to make my way over to the truck. Now in the desert, there's juniper trees, and they're all along the side of the road. All of a sudden, something comes out of the brush and shoves the shit out of me. I'm thinking, WTF? This hobo wants to start some shit today? Seriously? In the middle of the night? Except, I turn around and nothing is there. No sound anywhere. Bruh. At this point, I fucking scream because I just got shoved by some invisible force. I'm trying to focus on the area where it came from, and I see it's kinda hazy. There's something there, but I couldn't make it out. Eventually, I'm close enough to a road light, and I can just make out something there in the brush. I stay in the light and just wait, hoping to God that this trucker is a Good Samaritan. I keep staring at that bush where it was, but it's all fuzzy. It isn't making a move again. I think, good, maybe it won't fuck with me anymore if I'm in the light. Now I'm torn between trying to get to that truck and staying in the safety of the light. I decide to wait, and I'm seriously hoping that the trucker will come to me. Finally, after what seems like forever, the trucker gets out of his cab and carefully approaches me. He stays about 20 feet away. I can't say I blame him. He's probably hoping not to get shanked by some crazy, that crazy being me, of course. He says, "You okay, man?" At this point, I tentatively look into the brush and then look at the trucker and say, "I was walking to my friend's house and twisted my ankle. Can you call for an ambulance?" "You break it?" I think to myself, this is a weird question, but I'm not sure. I'm just in a lot of pain. "I think it's just a sprain," I respond tentatively. "Okay, I'll call someone. You hang tight there. You okay to wait there?" I yell back, "Yeah," even though I'm petrified beyond belief at what could possibly be hiding in the brush. But at the same time, if this guy thinks I'm tweaked up on meth or something, he might just bounce. I can't say I blame this guy for being wary. It was my stupid decision to go traipsing along Highway 17 in the middle of the effing night. The trucker heads back to his cab, and then after what seemed like forever, comes back and says, "Someone's on the way. I'll wait up here by my truck until they get here." After not too long, the highway patrol shows up, asks me a string of questions, and then helps me into the back of the car. I look back into the brush and I can still see the outline of some fuzzied shape, like it's just lying in wait. I'm trying to stay cool because I don't want this cop to think I'm jacked up on shit. I wasn't yet. Planned to be, but obviously didn't make it there. Anyway, I got fined for walking on the highway. Did a little internet research, and I have no idea what that could have been that shoved the shit out of me and hid in the brush like that, like it was waiting to attack me. I know one thing. I'll take the long route to my friend's house from here on out, and I don't care if it's hotter than hell. I'll be walking in the daytime from here on out. Thank you very much. Story number 2. Seeing double? I used to live in the desert for a year, and on nights when the moon isn't out, or there's clouds blocking the moon and stars, it's almost pitch black. You can't see more than 10 yards ahead of you. One night I was driving down the highway going home, and then suddenly in my headlights, I see a guy running on the side of the highway, full on sprinting. I mean, it's like this guy is trying to make his way across a marathon finish line. Mind you, I'm going 70 miles per hour, so it's only for a second or two, but I'm like, what the hell was he running from? I hope he's okay because I'm not pulling over. But then, maybe a minute later, I see another guy in my headlights, only he's walking on the side of the highway, and I swear to God, it looked like the same guy. So maybe 2 separate guys in the dark walking/running on the side of the highway? Here's why this is extremely odd. Unless you're in the metro area of Phoenix, the entire state is really rural. I mean, you just don't see people moseying along the highways out here, and especially in the dead of night. What possible reason could explain that? I didn't see any cars on the side of the road that might have broken down. I was so weirded out. I just had an uncomfortable feeling the entire ride home. Story number 3. Arizona Bigfoot. This happened a few months ago and has been bugging me. I was out hiking and rappelling with a friend in the hills near Tombstone. I want to mention that I've spent quite a bit of time solo hiking and camping. I'm used to hearing noises and brushing it off. Anyway, it's late afternoon and I'm the first one to rappel down. I got to the bottom, and while my partner was getting ready to follow, suddenly we heard this noise. I would describe it most like a growl/snarl. It sounded like it was coming from the ridge above both of us. If facing the cliff, it sounded like it was coming from the right side. We both looked around but didn't see anything. I encouraged him to come down and even half joked that it was probably just a bear or a mountain lion. At that point, I wasn't even feeling that nervous. I figured that once the two of us were together again, we would be pretty intimidating to most native desert animals out here. While he rappelled down, I heard a loud crash to what seemed to be parallel to me on my left. At this point, I was starting to get pretty scared because it was getting closer and also had somehow gone from right to left on an exposed cliff face without either of us seeing it. My friend successfully rappelled down, and we both agreed we needed to get the fuck out of there, and we still had a steep downhill climb to the car. We packed up the gear as fast as possible. As we get our packs back on, we heard what to me sounded like a howler monkey. The noise was close, and we still couldn't see what was making it. Of course, it was coming from the direction we needed to go. We hauled ass down the mountain and got to the car. I know that it can be easy to let the mind play tricks, but we had the exact same account, so I couldn't brush it off easily. Now this is the part I hesitate to put in writing because I know it sounds even more insane, but we both heard whispering and giggling as if it was right next to us. I keep trying to explain to myself that our minds were just playing tricks on us. The first noise I could chalk up to a bear or mountain lion. Animals are stealthy and could run in front of us without us noticing. Something else could have fell from the right side, right? What made the monkey noises, though? Why do we both feel like we heard whispering? Anyone else have creepy experiences in Arizona? I want to believe someone was pranking us, but there weren't any other cars in the parking area. Also know that Arizona has its own Bigfoot legends, most of them using the term Mogollon Monster. This has been cited all across the rim and around Sedona, Flagstaff, Meteor Crater, Sunset Crater, Kaibab, Show Low, Payson, Prescott, etc. There are also accounts from the Bradshaws, some lower desert areas, places you would not expect someone to see something like that. There are also lots of accounts from different reservation areas. You can see this on the new Unsolved Mysteries series for some freaky stuff on the Navajo res. My friend believes that we experienced something supernatural. I honestly have no idea what to think. Story number 4, Not a Boulder. My boyfriend and I were driving across a rural stretch of highway out in the flat desert region of Arizona. There aren't any streetlights along these highways. Also, very little traffic at night. We were having an involved conversation while he drove because at the time we were arguing about something. I don't even remember. I have better night vision than he does, and suddenly I see something extremely large looming in the distance, right in the middle of the road. I tell him, "Babe, you should slow down. Can you see that up there?" He squints and looks down the long stretch of road and slows the car to about 60. We'd probably been going about 80. There aren't any highway patrol around at this time of night on this road. We start to get closer, and I feel like we're seeing a huge boulder. But that doesn't make sense because the nearest place it could have come from was miles off of this road. It looked to be about 10 feet tall. As we come up on it, we've slowed to about 40, and as we swerve, I shit you not, whatever this was unfurls itself and takes off sprinting into the wild desert. It was too dark to see it anymore, but both my boyfriend and I are panting and speechless. Thankfully, my boyfriend had swerved to avoid the creature, then picked up speed, and after about 2 miles, pulls over. For a moment, neither of us can talk. I'd love to say we imagined it, but when you both experience something like that, it's very hard to dispute. Growing up in northern Arizona in a small place called Joseph City, you hear stories about the Mogollon Monster. I never thought they were real until now. I can't explain what else it might have been. Well, Rosebuds, that is the end of today's readings. And have you guessed which of the 3 stories were true encounters and which was the fake? Before I do the reveal for our creative fictional story, it really helps out the algorithms if you just give us a quick thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode and share it with a friend so we can eventually make this our full-time job and keep on creating more content like this just for you. All right, on to our story reveal. The imposter story today was story number 1, Black Canyon Anomaly, about the man who twisted his ankle and got attacked by an unseen force. This story was completely made up. But as you know, I lived 12 years in Arizona. Black Canyon, along Highway 17 from northern Arizona down to Metro Phoenix, is a real road. I've always felt it's a bit creepy, especially when you get to the switchbacks around Black Canyon. When I had to drive through there at night, I always hoped that I would never break down because it's relatively close to the Superstition Mountains, and they don't call it that for nothing. However, those are other stories for other times. As for now, that's a wrap, Rosebuds. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take care and stay creepy.